everyone. Welcome back to Poppin' In with Alexa and Molly. I'm Alexa.
I'm Molly.
And this week you're joining two little monsters to talk about one big creature.
We are little monsters.
We are. That's how I imagine both of us, especially me. I was a little monster. I was a little demon.
Oh.
As children.
Oh,
I never
as a
said that
child?
word, yeah.
Okay. I don't think I was, but...
Yeah,
okay.
I feel like you were very nice. I was in the hospital a lot. By virtue of my own causes.
As a kid?
Yeah.
I was sick all the time.
I was sick all the time. I also, threw myself off of things a lot.
I could see that. Did you ever fall down the stairs a lot? Because I weirdly did.
I fell down the stairs, yesterday, so yeah.
But did you tumble? I told Matthew recently that I used to fall down the stairs a lot, and he was just like, what? And I was like, I would somehow fall down the stairs a lot. I would literally, I can remember, seeing my mom's face as I stood and tumbling down the stairs.
It disappears, it comes back, it disappears.
Yeah, and I fell out of bed a lot. Wait, remind me to tell you something after the podcast. I don't want to say it on here.
Interesting, okay.
Okay.
Curious.
It's not about me. But anyway.
Okay. Yeah, we're two little monsters.
We're here to talk about Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off.
Our own little, I keep calling it Frankenweenie in my head, and I need to stop because I've never even seen that movie.
You guys are my little Frankenweenie. I actually watched it kind of recently. It's very cute. It's cute.
Yeah. I remember you said you watched it. You
yeah,
were like, yeah, I'm watching
weirdly.
Frankenweenie, and I never acknowledged the text.
I didn't text you that. That's a lie.
Did. Oh,
no,
why else would I know about it?
I don't think so.
I'm gonna find it.
But okay, this movie has actually been kind of controversial. I thought everyone loved it, and on the Twitter, everyone is very divided. A lot of people hate it. I don't know.
So it's interesting. I feel like a lot of people are, I feel like a lot of critics really like it, but a lot of viewers are not taken with it. So to give a little bit backstory on Frankenstein, this version is a reimagining of Mary Shelley's classic novel. It portrays Oscar Isaac as the titular Victor Frankenstein, who is made complicated by his childhood grief and isolation and searches for a scientific method to beat death. He's paired with Jacob Elordi as the infamous creature, who at first frustrates Victor in his lack of intelligence and eventually beats him with his growing humanity. Del Toro's adaptation takes on issues of father-son relationships, class infrastructure, what it means to create, and ultimately the everlasting search for meaning in life and death.
Now, it's interesting because this is... so Guillermo del Toro... really does focus on fatherhood in a lot, because in his adaptation of Pinocchio a couple years ago, it also was about father-son relationship, and so it's interesting that that's what he really focused on in this one. Yeah,
and there was a lot of that in Pan's Labyrinth too, and
I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
but I believe you.
Infamously missed on your list. But I think what's interesting is, so I was reading literally right as you walked through the door. So this is Del Toro's passion project. Yes. He just wanted to do this,
which makes sense because his whole vibe is Frankenstein.
Yeah. So I was reading this article about when he was 11 years old. He read the novel for the first time, which is go you. And that was his first love, and it also helped him process his relationship with his father and Catholicism. And he said, I do believe the book questions God for why we are here and what makes us human. So the perfect analogy for me between me and my father, Catholic dogma, and the idea of God sends Jesus to be crucified and experience pain and death. And I always wondered as a kid, why did he do that? Which I think is really interesting. But my favorite little detail was while as a kid, the story came to Del Toro, he started to articulate his feelings about Catholicism, and then as an adult he built a room in his house dedicated to Mary Shelley with a life-size silicone recreation of the author at her desk.
Okay, I believe that, because have you ever seen a video of his house? He's had people come into his house and or he's shown a tour of his house, and there's a room where it's just monsters. It's filled with just his home is crazy.
Oh, I'm sure. It reminds me of the scene in Severance when they go to whatever room it is and they have the recreations of but it also reminded me of myself, because I used to have a picture of Jane Austen taped to my desk and in my little writing notebook. I had pictures of her everywhere, and I was at the time I thought it was creepy, but I was he made a whole silicone recreation of Mary Shelley in his home.
That is wild, but I believe it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, overall initial thoughts, I'm curious.
So I thought it was a beautiful movie.
I did too.
And I'm really disappointed actually to see, because I think you're right. Critics wise, like, it's gotten really good reviews, I think. But then, like, I was really shocked to see just how many people didn't like it, thought it was awful, thought it wasn't a faithful adaptation. And I'm going to get to that because I do have thoughts on that. But I thought, like, set-wise, it was incredible. The sets were amazing. Even just, I mean, the whole ship in the beginning, that was a real, like, they really built that. And I was really impressed by the acting.
Yeah. Jacob Elordi acted his ass off.
He actually out-acted Oscar Isaac, I thought. And I never thought I would say that, but...
He's such a rising star, and I love, like, Guillermo del Toro, like, really liked him for this role because he was like, I saw him, like, throw a chair in Euphoria, like, saw that side of anger.
He watches Euphoria.
Yeah, I guess. And then it was like he saw him in Priscilla acting as Elvis and saw this kind of, like, quietness.
Oh, he did throw a chair in Priscilla.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking
He
of.
did. I do remember that.
Yeah. And he was like, and obviously has the stature for it, but he was like, so I could see him, like, embody these two things a lot, which I think is interesting.
Well, so originally, I think we should note that, like, Andrew Garfield was supposed to play the monster. It was supposed to be Oscar Isaac and Andrew Garfield. And I know you say you don't see it. I mean, to me, he's not as... I don't think physically he resembles the monster as much as Jacob Elordi does. But, I mean, when they did, and for whatever reason, Andrew Garfield had to drop out. I think he had, like, scheduling conflicts, but then Jacob Elordi was cast, and I was, like, shocked because I think Jacob Elordi is very good, but I just wouldn't see him in, like, a Guillermo del Toro, like, in this role. Like, this is such a dark, I don't know, it's a lot, but he did things with his eyes that I've just, like, I don't know. He literally resembled, like, a newborn. It's all that I will give credit, obviously, to, like, the prosthetics and makeup department. Yeah. But he was so good in it. Yeah,
which also, you may have seen this interview, but how long do you think it took them to put makeup on him every day for, like, the full body makeup?
Like 6 hours?
11. He said.
What is the point of that?
I know. Which he said, he was like, it gave me a lot of time to really get into character. And I was like, yeah, I'd hope.
Yeah, but it gave you a lot of time to get in and then out and then in a character again. Like, that's a whole day. That's longer than a work day.
Yeah, and then you haven't even worked yet. You're just getting painted.
11?
Yeah. He said that, I think it was on the Colbert Show, I think it was, or something.
How many days did he film? Because that's insane. What time would you have to wake up to do that?
If you think about it, the scenes where it's, like, his full body makeup, because when he's wearing clothes and stuff, it's a lot less time.
Oh, okay.
But the scenes where it's full body isn't, like, maybe as much as you think.
I mean, it's a good chunk of the first half of the movie, I would say. But then until he leaves and then he's wearing a coat and pants.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So what were your initial thoughts?
There were times like it really struck me. It really moved me.
Yeah.
And I think again, it was really a disservice not to have this in a theater.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the critics saw it like on a big screen. Yeah. And it's obviously very beautiful. And I think a lot of people go into Frankenstein being like, Frankenstein! Like thinking it's like the guy with the bolts in his neck and like whatever. But really, it's like a lot more than that. And I think like this was the most faithful adaptation to the novel with particular changes that make it faithful to Guillermo del Toro.
So I think what a lot of people, there were some big changes. And I think it's a lot in the characters themselves. Because I felt like the characters in some ways, I will say, this is now me like going through my problems with it, but not huge problems. These are things that I did note that like the characters, and not the monster, but actually sort of, but I thought Frankenstein was, I don't want to say one-dimensional, but he's supposed to be like a flawed man, but complex. And I think they definitely go through that with his father. I think like they show through like his childhood, and he is very much like, he is the same age he is like throughout the movie of like when his dad died or when his mother died. And so you just see that like he never really like grew out of that. And a lot of like we were saying with this movie, a lot of the movie is like it's fatherhood and like forgiveness with fatherhood. And I think that's like a huge theme of the movie. And so, but the thing is it was a little jarring to see how quickly he hated the monster. Right. Like I don't think that didn't feel right to me, how quickly he just was so angry with him. And like I don't know, he was very cruel to him, like, from the get-go, and I was like, I don't know,
I think it's interesting because, a couple things. I think it's interesting because it is, like, he's mimicking his father's own relationship with him.
Yeah.
But that's where it's, like, those are huge differences from the novel. So in the novel, Victor Frankenstein has, like, a great relationship with his dad. His dad loves him and supports him. He is supposed to be, like, this person who has come up with everything. Like, he has the money, he has the love and the resources, and yet still, like, this is what he does with it. You know, like, he creates this horrible thing, and like it's supposed to be about hubris and whatever. And it's also interesting because it's like, if you think about it in a parentage type of way, I was reading this review where it really is like a reflection of like, okay, you can empathize with the creature as a person because like none of us want to be brought into this world. But then also like you see that kind of, I think, parent-child dynamic play out in reality a lot, of where like I wanted this child, now it's brought into the world, it's not exactly what I thought it was going to be, so I immediately hate it. Yeah. But I do think it was pretty cool. And it was cruel. It was
really cruel.
Yeah.
I think if they had just maybe expanded that part a little bit more, it just felt like really weird how quickly he was just like angry. It's supposed to be, the whole thing is he's teaching him. And so it was like he didn't teach him at all. He didn't try to. And also the other thing is like the actual creature was way more monstrous, or the creature was way more monstrous in the book. I mean, he murdered Elizabeth. He murdered the little boy.
Yeah.
His brother. I felt like he was sort of one-dimensional in a way that, like, they just gave him way more humanity in the movie. Like, he immediately was just this, like, newborn baby who's very kind to everyone. He, like, loves the animals. He's kind to everyone who's, like, kind to him.
Right.
And then it's because of the way, like, except for Victor, if anyone's, like, a threat to him. But that, I mean, that's not, like, how I don't know. It didn't feel. But I also I'm about the thing of, like, I don't really care sometimes how faithful adaptations are to a book, because I think I like seeing the different interpretations. So I like hearing what Guillermo del Toro's thought process was with the father, or, you know, with his, like, the fatherhood theme. I think as long as it gets to the heart of the story, it's fine. Yeah. I just, like, it doesn't bother me. Like, I thought this was a beautiful movie. So those things that people, like, hate it for, I'm like, okay, it's not.
Yeah.
But the character differences, like, I felt like Frankenstein was very unlikable, was way more, like, it was almost jarring, like, how cruel he was. And it just felt like kind of like, okay, give him a second.
Yeah. I think that was purposeful just for, like, maybe Guillermo del Toro's own, like, interpretation, what he's kind of trying to convey.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about earlier how Frankenstein and, like, this movie is really all just, like, an allegory for itself, where it's, like, you know, Frankenstein, the creature, is really like something you create a work of art and you put it into the world, and how people interpret it, you can't really control.
Yeah.
And how it goes, true. How it grows and it builds, like, especially, you know, I mean, Mary Shelley's been dead for centuries. Like, you can't control that. And I think, like, it really is just like it's a creation myth of, like, also art and, like, something that you want to interpret. And so I think it's interesting, like, seeing Guillermo del Toro's interpretation, because it's definitely taking something that we all, like, know and love, but then, like, his own demons, I think, are put into it. His own creatures, if you will.
Yeah. It wasn't enough to, like, to ruin the movie for me that it was, like, that different. I did notice, I felt like it was a little bit more one-dimensional. And I feel like if we're going to focus on, like, the theme of forgiveness, I feel like both characters kind of had to have something to atone for. And they just sort of, they made the creature, like, perfect. And that's not.
Because I think, like, well, Guillermo del Toro, I think, always sees himself as, like, these creatures or as these monsters. Yeah. So maybe that's, like, a little bit why. And I think it, like, even their forgiveness, like, when they forgive each other in the end or whatever, it doesn't feel that earned because Victor is so unlikable. Like, he's such a horrible person. Because it's not even, like, in the book, Elizabeth, Elizabeth, like, is his fiance and his wife.
Yeah.
But in this one, he's literally coveting his brother's, like, fiance, which makes him, like, okay, already we don't really like that. It was an interesting decision on his part, and I can't quite figure out why he made that change specifically.
I know, because, and that was the other thing, was, like, when they show the flashback, it's, like, the brother is, the younger brother is, like, the father's favorite. He, like, dotes on him and loves him, and he, like, kind of casts Victor aside. And then the brother grows up, and he's the one who ends up with Elizabeth, and then like I think in the original story, it's like on the Frankenstein is with Elizabeth, and on the wedding night, that's when he kills Elizabeth. Yeah, and so it's just like it was kind of interesting. I'm saying the monster kills Elizabeth. Yeah, it was kind of interesting, that choice with the brother.
Yeah, but I would say like he stays. People, I think the biggest critique is people thought it was boring the way it was told, because I think it's very faithful to the way it's told when it's like in the novel, where it like opens with you're at this like ship or whatever, and like,
well, we joked, we're like, because the whole thing is they're telling, Victor starts out telling the story to this guy on the ship, and we're like, imagine it, and then later the monster comes in and tells his story, and it's like, imagine this guy, like, if he had to listen to a 2.5 hour long story from these two strangers, like, he would absolutely kick them off his ship. Like, I thought it was like a little long.
Yeah. I think Victor's part was a little bit like, I was more interested in the monster story. Yeah. But,
which makes sense. I think everybody, when you're watching any kind of Frankenstein adaptation, you're just waiting for the for the monster to come in.
But like, I understand why it has to be like Victor's story comes first, like just for story wise. But I think people just thought like the way, but it's faithful to the adaptation. I think the exposition is interesting, and also it gave us the opportunity for a lot of beautiful scenes. This is a beautiful movie.
It is. It's beautiful. The set is, and it's so, I mean, no one does gothic like Guillermo del Toro. Also, can we talk about the fact that, so Mia Goth, you didn't realize, like, she played dual roles.
Yeah.
And she does look different in the other role, but she plays both the mother and later Elizabeth. And I was thinking, I'm like, this girl loves dual roles. She was an ex. She played roles.
That's true.
I
love, someone tweeted, they were like, LOL, like, to make her unrecognizable, they just gave her eyebrows.
I know. I was trying to figure out what it was. Like, was it a different nose? Like, was it a prosthetic? And I'm like, I think it's just her eyebrows.
Yeah, and Guillermo del Toro loves a veil on a woman, but the costuming I will shout out to a friend of the pod, Liz. She sent me a Snapchat. She was like, what a shame that this came out right after Halloween, because it was like literally the screenshot where it's like Elizabeth is wearing the big blue feathers around her head. And she's like, what a costume opportunity that would have been.
Why didn't they release it just a little earlier? First of all, it's definitely more of an October movie in general. It's kind of crazy.
Maybe they didn't. I don't know. Maybe it's just like their scheduling releases or something. But I mean, the costuming, I will say, I think if I had to rate, like, in terms of like gothic in the past few years, it's like Nosferatu and Frankenstein in terms of costuming. They are both so beautiful in different ways, but I do think like the cinematography frames the costuming better in like Nosferatu.
Yeah, some of the costuming in this, I was like, oh, like I wasn't. I mean, obviously it's like it's good for the movie, but I was like, I don't love this.
And I will say, like, I think in like Frankenstein the novel, I think Elizabeth's character maybe just like has a little bit less to do, which I can't remember, but someone correct me if I'm wrong, which I think is interesting because I think Guillermo del Toro gave her a little bit more to do, but also by the end I was kind of like, what was the point of her really?
Yeah, I mean, just to have that bond with him, like she's the one who teaches him how to, she's the one who first shows him humanity.
Yeah, it's almost like a men are brutes and women aren't, like, comparison, because you see, like, Victor's has him chained up and, like, Elizabeth's like, a leaf?
Yeah. For me?
Yeah.
I know.
Mia Goth is not my favorite actress. Sorry, Megan.
She's fine. Yeah, I don't think
she's bad, but, like, she was interesting in this role.
Yeah. Her voice sometimes grates me slightly.
Yeah.
Not her fault, but I don't know.
I don't know if this like was even her fault. I just like the role that was written for her, I kind of was like, okay, like I think she could have like if we're going to change her character as much as we did, like I think it could have had maybe a little bit more of a point.
Yeah.
To it.
I actually think she had more of a point in this one in a way, but like you were saying earlier, but I think it was interesting. I'm wondering why give her the dual roles.
Yeah,
and I didn't really look into that, but I'm sure there was a reason.
Probably something having to do with
mother. Yeah.
Like a little bit of an Oedipal complex or whatever.
I don't know.
So always some weird mom thing.
Yeah. But
I just think, like, I really liked it, but I know some people, like, felt... I just wish it had been on a bigger screen.
I know. It's so... I said this last week, I think. Maybe I didn't, but I said it to somebody. But it shocked me that Guillermo del Toro is okay with streaming his movies.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't seem like someone who would want to do that.
Again, I think he just must have a really good deal from Netflix, but...
But it's so not a movie. I mean, it did go to some theaters, but, like, it should have definitely been in the theaters.
Yeah.
Although, I sometimes think about it, and I'm like, would it have done well? Like, I just feel like movies don't do well anymore in theaters. Like, when's the last one? Like, even when you think about, like... I mean, even, like, the biggest, like, Marvel movies recently, like, they didn't really do well compared to... And I feel like it just takes a lot for a movie to...
I think it has to be, because, like, they've done so many, like, Marvel movies or other, like, franchise films, like, people aren't going... Because they're just like, well, there's going to be another one next year. Whereas I think if it's, like, genuinely good IP, like Sinners or One Battle After Another,
yeah.
Like, then people are going to be like, oh, this is a one-time chance to go see this type of thing. Do you know what I mean? Whereas it's like...
I mean, Marvel didn't used to be that way, though.
Like, right, that's what I'm saying. But I think, like, now... And I'm not just like Marvel as an example, but, like, now there's just so much, like, franchise films and, like, what, like, oh, like, a sequel to this and, like, whatever. I think people are like, I'll just catch it on streaming.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's the amount of content that's out that it's making it, like...
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think people are more choosy with what they go see.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Maybe.
So I just was wondering, though, I'm like, would this have done well? Like, there's certain movies that come out that I'm like, oh, like, it... Yeah. I read about it and it's like, it doesn't do as well as you would... That it once would have. You know what I mean? But overall, yeah, I did think it was a beautiful movie, and...
I think this is a really great piece to add to Jacob Elordi's, like, oeuvre. I think this is... like, he was kind of, like, making this, like, slow incline of, like, I'm a really talented actor. And, like, if you're in the know, then you know that he is. But then I think this is really, like, where we're going to see him really just, like, start to soar and get, like, even bigger, like... more impressive. Like, this is an impressive project, but, like, even more so. And, you know, before this I would have said, like, I think he's talented, but, like, let's see. And now I'm like, I think he has range. I think he
definitely does.
He's got it going on.
Yeah, he really, like, you don't remember that you're watching Jacob Elordi, and I think that's important.
Yeah.
But
and I know, like, I was thinking about, like, the makeup, because I know you and friend of the pod Megan were like talking about, like, at some points I think the makeup was interesting because it did just look like on his face painted on, but I think the makeup on his body looked more impressive in that, like, it almost...
I think it was more faithful to the book in a way.
Yeah, and I think, like, on his, like, shoulders and stuff, it almost did look like he was really, like, sewn together, like tendons, but the ones on his face
face looked painted on. It was kind of like, oh.
And maybe a face is harder because there's some more movement and expressions. I don't know.
I wonder what the origin of the like nails in the head was.
I think it's from the 1931 what do you call it, adaptation of Frankenstein. I think that's when you first see it, where they tried to make it more of a horror because it's a monster, even though it's, like, really about humanity. And a lot of people have said, like, and I think, like, once that came out and people were like, this is it, because in that one, like, Frankenstein really doesn't have a lot of growth. He's just like, you know, this is bad, and like he's just, like, grunting, whereas this, it's like Jacob Elordi's character's, like, the creature's, like, learning to read and, like, have empathy and whatever, which I think is interesting.
They cut out a few things. I liked him going to the house and becoming close with the blind man, because that's a really,
and that,
like,
was sad.
It was really sad. But there's, like, a whole thing with the little girl. I think she dies. Maybe he doesn't kill her, but I thought she and the old man die in the original story. Maybe. It's very crazy, but yeah, that I thought overall, I don't know if it's going to be one that I watch a lot, you know, that I rewatch a lot, but it did make me, the next day I was like, I really want to watch Saltburn. Like, I'm, like, really in a Jacob Elordi mood right now.
Well, I was listening to this NPR review, and they're like, it really does tie in together, because they're both kind of about class structure, where it's like, you can do everything you can to, like, build yourself up and, like, get an education and whatever, and people are still gonna be like, oh, well, are you a creature? But I thought it was interesting. Someone brought up the point where, like, you know, Guillermo del Toro's wanted to make this for years, and they were saying, like, this is really timely because it is, like, kind of almost an allegory for, like, AI, where it's like you think that you want this thing and then you make it and then you're like, oh, like,
what have I done?
What have I done?
Interesting. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
it's definitely it needed to be made by him. It was.
Yes,
it's so.
I'm so glad. And his
him.
next work, I think, is Phantom of the Opera. I think.
I hope so. You know who I'd love to see in that role, and I'm being serious.
Oh, sorry.
I think like other people have said this too, but like Rachel Ziegler.
Interesting.
Oh my gosh, unless he gets an unknown, but don't be like getting Amanda Seyfried or somebody. Like get someone who can actually sing, but she would be amazing in it.
I would love an unknown in that. But yeah, overall I really liked it. Give it a watch if it's on Netflix.
I have a question. Have you ever seen Crimson Peak?
No, remember I told you I was gonna watch it, and then it went off like it was on. I think it was on Prime for like your subscription.
It's always when you're about to watch something. You could have. I will put things off all the time. I'll be like, I'll watch it, and then the minute I actually want to watch it, gone.
And now I think it's Netflix that does this thing where it really stresses me out. Where you'll like be looking at it and it'll be like
leaving soon.
It'll say leaving in 9 hours.
Oh, what?
Yes, there was something I was looking at. I was like. Oh, I guess I gotta watch it right now.
Yeah,
for real.
That's
crazy.
I think you should watch it. I don't know if you'll like it, but it's such a vibe. Like it's one of those movies that I love, but I still recognize that like it's not great.
Yeah.
But the set is beautiful. The cinematography is beautiful. It very much like resembles. Actually, it does. Like Frankenstein kind of reminded me of Crimson Peak, obviously. Yeah. But it's Matthew like doesn't like it, but I always make us watch it.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Yeah.
Because I know like that actress, she was in Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, which I thought she quit acting because I had heard that she did for a while, and then now she's about to be in something. So
interesting.
Mia was a Kowska.
Yeah.
So our question of the week this week in the topic of Frankenstein. What classic do you want to see an adaptation of next?
Yes.
Like, what would you want to see be made into an adaptation?
And if you ever want to answer a question of the week, follow us on Instagram at Poppin' In Podcast. We post a question every week. We love to hear your thoughts, your prayers, your musings. Send us a message. But you know me. I love a classic. I
hope you don't take mine. Now I'm kind of worried.
Do you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
No,
you were already talking.
No, you go first.
Okay. I think I would. Okay, so I'm gonna preface this by saying almost everyone. I say everyone. We only had a couple answers, but I feel like, including myself, like there is already an adaptation of this, but it's from the 80s, and that's how like other ones we have here too are. Like they're from the 80s. They're like shitty movies. They don't count. So I'm gonna say 1984.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
I'm so shocked that we still haven't made that into a movie.
Yeah,
because like there's one from the 80s. It's weird, but I want to see like a different version. It's great. It's one of like my all-time favorite books. Like that would be good. It would be so crazy.
And they did a Fahrenheit 451 with Michael B. Jordan a few years ago.
What?
Yeah, it got really good reviews, but I never watched past the first 5 minutes because it's like
I've never heard
very
of that.
Futuristic. Like I don't know.
I never heard they did that.
Yeah, you should check it out.
Where did it go on?
I want to say it's on Prime or HBO. What? We can look it up after this. So I actually added another one as you were talking, but my main one is, and I know, like, again, as you've said, they've made adaptations of this, but it's like BBC masterpiece, which I love.
Yeah, but you want like a theatrical, like...
I want a sweeping Christopher Nolan-esque...
what if you said The Odyssey?
of A Tale of Two Cities.
Well, okay, interesting. I guess The Dark Knight Rises is apparently like The Tale of Two Cities. So he did technically do that.
Maybe. Yeah, I would love. It's like one of those books. I remember reading it like in high school, and it was one of those things where I was like, "Oh, this is such a long, boring Charles Dickens book." And at the end, I was like literally like tearing up in the back. Like it
is crazy that they've never really remade that.
It's a true like I think masterpiece, and I want to like maybe read it again. But the other one I was thinking of as you were talking and like thinking about like the Odyssey that's being made is I want to like a Gilgamesh story, and it doesn't have to be crazy, it doesn't have to be, but like the Epic of Gilgamesh, let's do it. Let's get the original story up and out there, okay? Let's make it, put it on the screens. I love a little interpretation.
Okay, so Matthew said The Alchemist. He loves The Alchemist. Yeah. I've actually never read it.
Oh, really? It's
yeah. He loves it.
I was about to say you can borrow it, but I was like, I'm sure he has a copy.
I don't know. But he loves it. And he was like, I knew that was going to be his answer, but he did say that.
That would be kind of almost, I'd be curious
I'm sure
to see
it'd
an
be
adaptation
difficult, but
of that.
not that I know. It's like, I'm sure it would.
Yeah.
And so I looked and there hasn't been one at all. There's a movie called The Alchemist, but it's not related.
Oh, yeah.
And then Eric said Moby Dick, which, okay, they did make In the Heart of the Sea like in 2015, and that was about the writing of Moby Dick. So
yeah.
I mean, I guess it doesn't really count, but still.
They have an adaptation, I think it's from the 50s, that's supposed to be really good. I started it, but like I'm like, let's do it again. I mean, it's supposed to be one of the greatest books
again,
all
for like
time.
Christopher Nolan. Like, I'm just thinking of epics.
Yeah,
and, like,
Christopher Nolan would love a little Moby Dick.
He would. He also said Lord of the Flies, which I don't think he knew, but they are coming out with a Lord of the Flies, which I'm really excited for because I remember again watching like a shitty one from the 80s in school, like, and it wasn't very good, or maybe it was from the 90s or something, and it just was like I remember it, but like it wasn't good.
Yeah.
But like I think it would be so good, or I'm excited to see the one that's coming out because I always think, like, especially when it's like boy actors, if they're good actors, like there's something really impressive about like good child actors.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just like the ultimate story to do that, like to have just really good, like, you know, just child actors that just are all like funny and are just, you know, good and interesting. And I just remember they have a character named Piggy, and it's really sad.
Yeah, I mean, he is really a sad character.
Yeah.
But I think we're in, like, a time of, like, literary adaptations that are done well. Like, it's not just shitty 80s movies or, like,
right.
And so, like, the Lord of the Flies thing makes me excited, and, like...
Me too. I'm
The
curious.
Odyssey.
The Odyssey. And then he also said Animal Farm, which they are... So Andy Serkis is coming out with an Animal Farm animated movie, and I was excited because I was like, oh, because he's the king of, like...
Yeah.
What do you call that? What does he do? Motion capture.
Oh,
He's like the king of motion capture performances, and so I was like, oh, that will be perfect. I'm sure that's what he's gonna try to do with Animal Farm. And it's like I saw a preview for it, a trailer for it, and it has like Seth Rogen and like a bunch of people, but it was like immediately it's an animated pig, and I just hear Seth Rogen's like dumb voice in it, and I'm just like, what? That's not what, you know, not dumb voice, but you know what I mean, like his Seth Rogen voice. And I'm just like, this looks like trash.
And I
was
feel
shocked.
like that's why there aren't a lot of Animal Farm adaptations, because it's hard to make that movie where
that
it's
would
like
be
talking animals, but it's like communism.
And I remember like a shitty 80s movie that we had to watch in school for it, and it was like they used actual animals. They used like stuff, like it was like it was really bad, and it was scary because you know how like things in the, like old movies are like scary when they try to do like puppets or whatever. I don't even know what they were, but I think that would be an interesting remake, but I don't know, maybe they'd have to do something really experimental with it and not like
it would be, or like you'd almost have to, I don't know if you could have animals do it, like to make it serious.
That's
like
what
it almost
Matthew
feels like
said.
Babe in the City.
Right. Matthew was like, I think they would just have to do like people, and it would just have to be like a different story. And I was like, but that's what Animal Farm is. Like it's supposed to be that. Like that's the point, is like they're animals.
Right.
So now if you're just making them humans, and that's just life.
Yeah, then it's just
But anyway, all good answers. Sorry to like analyze everybody's answers. But
no,
I think it starts I would love to see it. There's so many that I'm like, how have you all not made that yet? Maybe it's just too big of a thing to take on.
Maybe, but like I said, I think we're in like the heyday of like, because we have like Little Women, we have Pride and Prejudice, we have The Odyssey, we have Lord of the Flies, and these aren't just like, again, love BBC masterpiece classics like for what they are, but like I'm talking big production, we're putting it in theaters, type of thing, and that's what I love, and that's
shit.
that type shit.
So those were all of our answers, and I think, I don't know, I think that was a good discussion. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I'm proud of us. And you know what else is going to be a good discussion is the sexiest man alive.
I was not, usually I'm like really counting, I'm not usually doing this, but I was going to say, I was going to say counting down the days to
You're like marking your calendar every day.
It's usually like a day or two before. I'm like, oh, they're going to announce sexiest man alive. And it's always weird to me. And I remember last year I finally learned like what it is, and it's not just like they just pick one. It's they have to actually pick one who agrees to do it, because they're usually promoting something, or they're okay with doing like a whole cover story. And so that's why usually Sexiest Man Alive is like a random person that you're like, okay, you were sexy like 15 years ago, but why are you now? This year, I thought it was a pretty good one.
Yeah, I love a little Jonathan Bailey.
Yeah, Jonathan Bailey was announced People's Sexiest Man Alive.
And that's been, I think that makes sense. All of his work except for Jurassic Park, which I'm not a Jurassic Park fan, but I do plan to watch it just for him because I just think he's also like a nice, fun guy. Yeah,
he's kind of has it all. They announced that he's the first. It was interesting the way they phrased it. They said he was the first openly gay man to be Sexiest Man Alive.
Which, did you see the interview with Jeff Goldblum where he's talking about, he's like, I gotta take it seriously, because like I'm representing like diversity, and Jeff Goldblum was like, what? He was like, because like he was like, because like I'm the first openly gay man, and Jeff Goldblum was like, oh right, yeah, anyway. It was like, so it's like very funny.
And I want to say, like, okay, last year was John Krasinski. I'm not saying, I do actually think John Krasinski's hot, but it just felt like it was random. Yeah. Like sometimes they're random, and it's because there's a reason for it, and they're the only ones to agree to do it. Apparently they've asked Pedro Pascal like 3 times. Yeah. Because he would be the person, but. Right. But this year I thought it was like, yes, that is perfect timing. Yeah. And he really is sexy.
Yeah. And I also love, like, one thing I love about Jonathan Bailey is I think he's really, like, an example of how, I think, like, in previous years, people, like, maybe have, especially men, haven't said, like, been openly gay because they're, like, there's a book called A Little Life that I read recently where one of the characters is an actor and he comes out, and I think it covers this topic well, where they're like, well, now all you're gonna get are roles cast as gay men, right? And you're not gonna get like any of the like big money heartthrob roles or whatever, because that's, I think, how it traditionally was. Whereas I think Jonathan Bailey is a perfect example of like I've seen him in roles where he plays a gay man, I've seen him in roles where he plays a straight man, and now he's the sexiest man alive, which we know like mainly pertains to like straight women and gay men, and like that's like, and I think he just really like does that balance well, and I hope that he is like a good vision of like for the next generation of those to come, where it's like your sexuality doesn't have to limit your career opportunities as an actor.
Yeah, definitely. And I didn't read like his article or anything, but
I didn't either. I watched his little interviews. I saw it and I kicked my little feet and I said yay. And then I think they announced it literally right after you left last Monday.
I know. Did you ever watch the show that he was in? I want to say Close Encounters. What am I trying to say?
Crashing?
No. The one with him and Matt Bomer. Fellow Travelers.
Oh, Fellow Travelers, yes.
Yeah, he was really good in that.
That's the one where it's like wait, maybe I'm thinking of the one with, oh no, not Fellow Travelers. I'm thinking of the one with Paul Mescal, which is like where his parents have died, but he like sees them.
Oh, All of Us Strangers or whatever.
All of Us Strangers.
No, this was a show. It was, I want to say it was on Showtime. It takes place in the 50s.
I heard good things about it.
It was good. It was a lot, but it was good. Yeah. It was very, ooh.
Yeah. Like, and I love, like,
there's one point where he like puts Matt Bomer's like foot, or maybe one of them sucks the other's toe. I can't remember, but they put they're like really like, they put their whole
I can't
foot. I can't remember which one it is.
You know me and feet, I'm not about it. So whenever I see that on TV, maybe I shouldn't watch it.
It's one scene, you'll be fine.
True, he's hot enough to carry me through a foot sucking scene. I think. But congratulations to him. I'm really proud for him and his sexy ass body. Yeah. Good job. Your parents are probably really, like, your parents should be proud.
Yeah.
As we are.
Yeah.
That was a weird thing to say, wasn't it? Yeah.
So our Alexa and I saw a movie.
Yeah.
Was it last week?
Yeah, it feels like we've seen so much. So much has passed across our eyes.
We did watch 2 movies together last week. Yeah. And that was Frankenstein and Bugonia. Yeah. And so we went to see Bugonia, which, if you don't know, the plot is 2 conspiracy-obsessed young men kidnap the high-powered CEO of a major company, convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying planet Earth. And so it's directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. I never say his name correctly, probably. But, and it stars Emma Stone as Michelle Fuller, the CEO, Jesse Plemons as Teddy, Aidan Delby as his cousin Dawn, and Stavros, I don't know how to say his last name. He's the comedian, you know, the Stavros, as Casey and Alicia Silverstone as Sandy. And so the movie is a remake of the South Korean movie Save the Green Planet, which is from like the early 2000s. And so it was kind of a cult classic, but it basically, if you've seen Save the Green Planet, then you know the plot of Bugonia. It's very faithful. It's pretty much the exact same plot.
Yeah.
But basically Bugonia, kind of like Save the Green Planet, is an absurdist black comedy, but it has like a social commentary about class differences, corporate greed, big pharma, conspiracy theories. And so basically it's about Teddy is played by Jesse Plemons, and he's a beekeeper, and he and his cousin, but like mostly Teddy, are kind of these conspiracy theorists who hatch a scheme to kidnap the Emma Stone's character, who's the CEO of a big biotech firm, because they believe that she is like from this high intelligence alien race that's like controlling everybody on Earth.
Yeah.
And basically they think she's pretending to be human. And it kind of reminded me, you saw Kinds of Kindness, right?
Yeah.
I don't think either of us really vibed with it.
It made me angry. But I also watched it around the same time as Unfrosted, and so it lives in the same place in my mind. I don't know why.
I do kind of remember, yeah. Because I think we talked about it in the same, like...
Yeah.
I don't even know if we talked about it on the podcast. But that was Yorgos' most recent movie before this movie. And it was definitely, like, his experimental movie. It was, like, an anthology. So it had, like, vignettes. But...
Boring. So boring.
Neither of us loved it. But basically, one of the plot lines is that Jesse Plemons' character thinks his wife, who's played by Emma Stone, is, like, being her body is being invaded by something, and, like, it's not really his wife. And I kind of wondered if that plot was like inspired by this plot, or if it inspired him to do this movie. Because it kind of reminded me of that. But anyway, basically, like, they kidnap her, and they want her to arrange a meeting with her superiors on alien mothership so he can negotiate a truce to save Earth from destruction. That's kind of the whole plot. What were your thoughts on it?
I actually really enjoyed it.
I was surprised. So after we watched it, I kind of sometimes can like gauge whether I think you're gonna like a movie or not, like as we're going through it. And I really felt like I was like, she hates this movie.
Really?
I don't know why I thought that.
I think I thought it was very well written and I'm gonna say this in a way that's like not a spoiler.
Yeah.
But like in that you go back and forth between being like, oh, like Emma Stone isn't an alien, obviously, and then you're like, is she? And then you're like, no, she's not. Is she? Like, you just like, and I think the way that they do that, they waffle back and forth, is so well done that's really what I was like, that was kind of like a little chef's kiss to me in terms of like, it kept me on my seat.
Yeah, it does. Well, and also like the thing is she's very steadfast the whole time because she's very, like, she tries to placate them. Like, she's very, like, she's calm. She doesn't ever freak out and is like, why am I here? Like, she's very calm and steady the whole time. So you are kind of like, and what's interesting about her is you're kind of obviously rooting for her to go free because they do torture her.
Yeah.
And it's like, but at the beginning, she's sort of painted as this cold-hearted CEO. Like, there's just sort of this joke in the beginning and kind of throughout the movie where she's like, I want everyone to be able to stop working at 5:30 unless you have more work to do. And if you have more work to do, please feel free to stay late and finish your work. But obviously go home. But like, unless you have more work to do, like, then you should stay. Like, and so she's kind of like, she's this like very like high powered, like cold CEO. So you don't, it's like weird because you sort of, it's like you feel for her obviously because she's in this situation with these crazy guys. But also you like sympathize with him. And I think it's interesting because like, so Teddy's whole thing too is he's also angry because his mom, who's played by Alicia Silverstone, is like currently like comatose in the hospital, and it's because I think she had cancer, and she was like, or she had something, but she was part of like these clinical trials for a drug that was made by the company that Emma Stone is the CEO of. So she was like, it was a failed drug, so he kind of blames. I think it's like he blames her for that. So it's almost like he's sort of doing it out of revenge. Like, he's angry about that, but it's also like he also thinks she's an alien. So I'm not sure if he's like seeking revenge for the drug thing or.
Because you think like the whole time you're like, this man is off his rocker. Because he's like, they didn't even try to hide that you're an alien. I ran scans on your like Instagram profile and the whatever coding is all over your face or something like that. And you're just like, whoa. Yeah. He's a little crazy. But then again, like they go back and forth where like as time goes by, you're like, or is he crazy?
Right.
And then you're like, no, he's crazy. And then you're like, and I think, like, it's well paced too. Like, I think sometimes, like, I really liked Poor Things, but it felt kind of long.
Yeah.
Whereas this, like, the beginning was, like, a little bit slow, but then it really picks up. And I think, like, first of all, I love them trying to kidnap her and her, like, kicking the shit out of him.
Yeah.
But I love, like, kidnapping plots in general, because there's always an oh shit moment where you're like, one thing has gone wrong and now it's all, like, snowballing to go wrong. Right. And that, like, it's because it's, like, kind of funny, even though it's like,
it was funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jesse Plemons did a great job. I think he's a perfect muse for Yorgos Lanthimos. He's
clearly, I mean, Emma Stone is his muse, I think, but I think Jesse Plemons is now also.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I think, like, he's got that look to him, you know. And
he was kind of cute in this movie, I actually thought.
Really?
I know it's like I've always actually found him attractive.
I do too, in, like, an interesting way.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was in this movie just because his hair was so dirty.
Well, he kind of looked crazy.
He was also really thin.
He was, yeah.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think he was so good in it, though. He is like truly, he really is one of my favorite actors currently.
Yeah, I really like him. I want to see him in more than just, like, Yorgos. Like, we saw him in Civil War, but, like, only for a little bit.
We were talking about, but he had such a memorable scene in that. And we were talking about Kirsten Dunst recently, because I am I say I'm a Jesse Plemons fan. Like, first and foremost, I am a Kirsten Dunst fan.
You haven't seen Marie Antoinette.
I don't care. Since I was a child, I have been like I love Kirsten Dunst. And so, but the problem is, like, I wish I still think she's, to this day, just, like, very underrated, because, you know, she was a child actor. She's still amazing to this day. I mean, it's really rare when you're, like, a child actor and then you have success as an adult too. And she's still amazing. I think she should have an Oscar by now.
She did Vampire, or the Interview with the
Vampire, amazing. Little Women, and then Bring It On,
like, and crushed it.
Yeah, she's great. And, like, I think she is still underrated. And I was talking to you about it. Like, she did an interview with something. It was when Civil War was coming out, and she was like, yeah, it's really hard for women in their early 40s to, like, get roles anymore. Because she's very, like, I think she's very natural. She just lets her, and I think she's beautiful, and she still always looks young, but she doesn't do, like, a lot of work to herself, I don't think. Like, she just is, she seems very natural. And, she was, like, making note that, like, it's kind of hard to, like, get roles still to be wanted in Hollywood when you're once you, like, hit 40.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the thing is, like, she is in stuff, but it feels like anything that I see her in, it's like Jesse Plemons is in it too, or you know. And so I feel like I'm like, I want her to have her own thing.
Well, I was telling you, I was like, I feel almost the opposite, where, like, I watch an interview about Jesse Plemons, they're interviewing Jesse Plemons, and then it always goes back to Kirsten. Yeah, Kirsten.
Yeah. That's true too, probably.
And sometimes I'm like, okay, like, they most of their careers up until recently, like, they weren't even together. And for me, like, that would be frustrating, because it's like, obviously he loves and supports his wife, but, like, I would be like, okay, well, this is about my work, you know? Like, I can't remember, it was the Colbert Show. It was one of those talk shows where they were interviewing him, and it basically got on this whole thing about, like, how do his kids feel about, like, Spider-Man, or something like that.
Oh, because I was like, why?
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, they don't really care that she's in it, which is funny, because, like, they love Spider-Man, blah, blah. So then the whole conversation became about Spider-Man. I'm like, okay, I don't know, like, what about you and the work that you're doing? And I love Kirsten Dunst, but I also, like, sometimes I was like, we just don't have to always ask her husband about her.
Yeah, that's probably true with interviews. I'm talking about work, though. Like, it feels like anytime she's in something, it's like he's in it, too. Whereas he seems to be more established now as, like, a...
What else has he been in that she's been in?
They were in Power of the Dog together. They were in Fargo together. Civil War was, like, she was the star of that movie, but, like, he had a really memorable cameo that I think is probably, like, the most notable thing from the movie.
Yeah.
And so, they've been in a lot of stuff together. But, I mean, it's fine. I love them both. I would love to see them in something else together, too. Like, I do love them, but I always think about that with her. I'm like, she doesn't ever seem to get her own thing anymore.
Yeah. And I think I love her as an actress. I think she's very talented.
Great. But anyway, so is Jesse Plemons, as we're talking about Bugonia. I can't wait for his next movie already. Like, I heard he's taking a break, though.
Jesse Plemons?
No, Yorgos Lanthimos. Because he has pumped out, like,
3 movies.
3 in a row.
Yeah.
It literally I didn't even realize, but it's been every year. He did Poor Things. I think Kinds of Kindness may have even come out like less than a year later.
Yeah.
And then now this.
And I will say, like, you know, hated Kinds of Kindness, but I really enjoyed Poor Things. I really liked this movie. So I think like 2 out of 3 ain't bad in my book.
2 out of 3, and I love his other movies too. Like I've pretty much seen almost all of his movies.
Yeah, but I will say, like, this isn't. I would say it's more of an art movie. So if you're thinking about seeing it, know that it's like, it's fun and it's entertaining, but it is like a little bit weird and kooky.
I mean, all of his movies are very like art house, you know.
Yeah.
So it is It's kooky. It's probably not for everyone, but we liked it.
Yeah, I think we did. But you know what's also not for everyone? David Harbour. Is that a bad transition?
No.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah. So I know, like, we talked about the David Harbour, Lily Allen stuff when Lily Allen, like, briefly when Lily Allen came out with her album a few weeks ago. And you sang me some lovely bars, which I really, we sing a lot on this podcast, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
First, when I see you smile. It makes me smile.
That was good. And so I think it's been interesting because there's been some stuff coming out about, like, Millie Bobby Brown kind of filing a case against David Harbour I think it was for the last season of Stranger Things. Oh, okay, you go.
Well, no, that it's actually. Well, you go into what you're going to say, and then I'll say.
Well, I think it was about, like, it wasn't sexual harassment or anything. It was mainly just, like, bullying and, like, general, I think, harassment on set, to the point where she then brought, like, a representative on set with her, I think. But I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, like, I don't know when it was exactly. It could have been for the last season, but this was not, like... Okay, so they did say that it was like a while ago. Yeah. That's how it was phrased. It was like it was kind of a while ago, but that could be this season because they filmed it for so long. So really, I don't know. But it was interesting because the season 5 premiere just happened like a few days ago, and David Harbour is not doing press for this season, which makes sense. And it's funny because I've seen, like, usually he and Winona Ryder, like, do interviews together. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed, like, Winona Ryder's, like, doing interviews by herself, and I'm sure it's, like, he was supposed to do them, but, like, he's not doing them. But they had the premiere, and I was shocked to see that, like, he showed up, and he and Millie Bobby Brown hugging all over each other, like, laughing or whatever. And so then, like, a lot of people are like, see, I knew it was wrong. And I think, I'm sure Netflix was like, y'all better get out there and hug each other. And, like, I'm sure it was. But, go ahead.
I was going to say, it could be a thing, like, where if she filed something against him, like, years ago, that then maybe they had, like, an HR meeting and, like,
So I was going to say, yeah, like, I think it was Vanity Fair or Variety reported, I always get those two mixed up. Variety reported that it's true that there was a case, and Netflix looked into it and investigated it, and then it was resolved. Yeah. So, but it's interesting because I think our first thought, and it's probably just because, like, Millie Bobby Brown is the age that she is, and I think everyone's first thought is, like, it was, like, a sexual harassment thing. Yeah. And so it was interesting to read that it was, like, bullying, and it was not sexual, but it was, like, bullying and, harassment. And I just wonder, I'm like, what was that? Yeah. Like, I am curious.
It's also interesting that it was those two people who play a father-daughter dynamic on the show. I was, like, thinking about it. I was like, you can't really tell in their acting. I mean, like, they are professionals.
You couldn't tell at the premiere either. They were...
Yeah. So I don't really know, like, what's going on there or, like, what's going on with David Harbour. But, I mean... I think it just sometimes is easy when, like, bad stuff comes out about a person for, like, more bad stuff to come out and be, like, framed in a certain way.
And that was kind of my point. Like, we were talking about it a few days ago, and I was just like, damn, like, I'm really just, because I am a fan of his, like, his acting. Like, I think he's, I've just always really liked him. And whenever I see him in interviews, he's always very, like, jovial. He's very funny. Like, I don't know. I've always really liked him. Whereas sometimes when things come out about people, I know we don't really know them. That would be very parasocial. But, like, I always am sort of like, yeah, I could see it. When stuff came out about Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, whether I know that that was sort of settled too, but I think in that whole case with Justin Baldoni, I think it's probably both sides.
Yeah.
But I was not surprised to hear bad things about the two of them, because I've always kind of gotten, especially Ryan Reynolds, I've never liked him. I've gotten bad vibes about him, just whoever. But David Harbour, I was like surprised by, just because he just seems nice, funny, whatever.
Yeah.
And my point was that I do think, like, we sometimes have to take a step back, because I think and I'll admit that, like, with Blake Lively, like, this was happening where it felt a little unfair that it's, like, everything is just piling, and I think there is a real thing as, like, a smear campaign.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of my point, was, like, yeah, he probably has done some bad things, but I think it's just, sometimes it's like when they all come out at once, I'm like, okay.
And I think it's very much like the press being like, okay, well, now this person is in the press because of Lily Allen.
Yeah.
So now we need to, like, go, like, dig up something else for, like, another headline. And that being said, you know, this could come out, and next week something awful could come out again, and we could be very wrong. But as of, like, right now, I'm like, okay, I think he just seems like a guy who maybe has made some mistakes, probably.
I mean,
and I honestly,
we really just don't know.
Just never thought about him this much. Like, I don't want to say I don't care about him and the stuff he does, but
we don't really watch anything he's in, do you?
Besides Stranger Things, what else is he in?
Well, I guess you saw Thunderbolts. I was gonna say he's in Marvel now.
Yeah,
he was in. The thing is, I feel like. I'm sure he's still in Marvel. I'm sure they didn't, like, kick him out of the movie. But I feel like, in a way, for someone who's, like, you know, in his, I think he's probably, like, 50 or close to 50. Like, or he is 50. We saw that on the last time. But his star is, like, rising, sort of. Like, it's just kind of interesting. But I think, so I don't know if that'll, like, affect that. But I do think it's interesting. I mean, we just don't know. I think they're all weird, and we really just don't know people. But I think, like, I think they're really doing some heavy damage control because the new season is coming out, and they just want everyone to be like, okay, like, like, don't.
Yeah, play nice. Let's all be copacetic.
Yeah,
they just need to put this season out already. I actually get mad when I walk into Target and I see the Stranger Things advertising, and I'm like, we've just been living in this world for too long.
They have been promoting it for so long. I think that's the issue, is I keep thinking it's about to come out, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, we still have, like, 2 more weeks.
Or, like, you texted me last year or something, you were in Bath
and Body Works. I actually just put out, because I'm just trying to get rid of it.
Yeah,
I have now gone through 2 Stranger Things, or I'm on the second one now, Stranger Things, like, hand soap.
Yeah, and I remember you texting me, you were like, is Stranger Things coming back soon? And I was like,
why'd they do that?
So. I think it was so people didn't forget about it, because it's taking so long.
I don't know why. Yeah, Bath and Body Works did a random collab like 2 years before the new season came out.
So random. But you know what else is very random?
What?
Kim Kardashian gracing our screen and all.
Girl. Okay, I have to ask, how many episodes did you watch?
I watched like 2. I didn't finish the second one, but I had like 10 minutes left.
So I know I challenged us. I know I was the one who challenged us.
To watch 3. How many did you do?
I couldn't get past 1.
Did you finish 1?
I think.
Okay.
I think I did. Yeah, because I got to the part, I mean, the end is when that underwear is, like, right?
Yes. That was so, I literally had to, like, rewind it, because it's, like, literally, we'll put this on, like, the out of context. It was
shocking.
It's like she's gone doing her lawyer stuff all day. She's, like, won a big case or whatever, and they show they're, like, cheersing, and Kim Kardashian is wearing this, it's a pair of pants that shows the top of her, like, at least half of her butt with, like, a thong coming out, and that's, like, the pants. And I'm like, there's no way a lawyer would be wearing this, like...
And it's not, like, just the top of her thong is shown. It's, like, because, you know, Kim's butt is shaped, so it's, like, it's literally, like, the butt is out, and, like, her cheeks are just out. Like, the thong is just fully out. Like, it's crazy. And it's like, it's not, like, what? In what world? It's not, I don't know. But... I was pretty shook at that, and everyone was like, was that on accident? Like, I saw everybody being like, did they just, like, forget to edit that out or something? I was like, no, I don't think so.
No, I think because the whole vibe, like, the set design, the outfits, at one point, like, Sarah Paulson's wearing these, like, massive latex gloves, and I'm like, she's not a lawyer. Why is she wearing this?
Yeah.
And I don't, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
But, like, the set design, their office is weird. The homes are strange.
Everything is weird.
Yes, like, it's like the vibe is off. And that's why, like, I think a lot of people are saying, like, Kim Kardashian's drama. And I'm like, I don't think we can put this all on her.
No, we can't. I think, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think one thing that we have to kind of talk about from the top is, like, was this show supposed to be camp? And I really can't talk. I know I only watched the first episode, but I think it's very clear that the show probably, if not got worse, continued in the same direction. Because if that was the first episode, then I'm sorry, I don't want to see anymore.
Yeah.
But I think it was just like, it wasn't meant. I think it was supposed to be camp. Like, it's not meant to be taken seriously, but it wasn't funny either.
No, so I think it almost was supposed to be because it's a drama. It's billed as a drama, right?
Was it?
I think so.
I don't know. Like, it sure had a lot of, like, comedy in it, though. I didn't think it was funny. But you know what I think? So one of Ryan Murphy's, his first show was, I think it was his first show. It was a show called Nip Tuck.
Yeah.
I think it was, like, and that was, like, just pure camp. Like, it really was. I think this was, like, lawyer Nip Tuck. I think it was supposed to be along the same lines, but I don't...
And I don't think maybe because Nip Tuck came out, like, in the early 2000s, and that was probably with, like, this is a new thing that we're doing, like a campy show.
Whereas people loved that show.
And the thing about camp is, like, it is such a fine line to write because it has to be, it's slightly, like, a little bit, like, bad, but in a good way. And this, like, it's so easy to, like, fall over that line, I think.
And my thing is, like, you can't have... Like, at the same time, I do find it hard to believe that it was supposed to be camp when you have Kim Kardashian as the lead, who's not, I mean, she's not particularly funny.
Right.
Like, it'd be one thing if you had somebody who is, like, even if you had somebody like Lisa Rinna or something, who's not, I mean, because she's, like, you know, she's an actor, she's not very good, but, like, she is, like, she knows she's camp, she can be funny, like, whatever, but, like, Kim, like, I think it genuinely was supposed to be, like, fierce and cunty. Yes. And it just, like...
Because, honestly, the actors around Kim are... It's, like, Glenn Close, it's Niecy Nash, it's...
Sarah Paulson, Naomi Watts.
Like, it's, like, a pretty strong cast of characters. And you can tell, like, the writing just is not there. Like, you can tell, like, Naomi Watts is, like, struggling to say her lines, almost, to me.
Yeah, her... The thing is, and you were actually getting to this earlier, you were like, I don't think we can put the whole blame on Kim. I don't think so either, because let me tell you, Glenn Close's acting was bad too. Like, she was weird in it. And I mean, Sarah Paulson was, like, really giving it her all, but even her lines were so ridiculous that it felt like overacting.
She called someone a cum burger in the second episode. And I was just like, oh, is this supposed to be an insult? Or, like, there's a line...
I think it was supposed to be funny. That's where I'm saying I think it was supposed to be funny, but, like, it just, like, wasn't.
And some of the lines, it gives, like, a Gen Xer, like, kind of writing, like, internet jokes. Like, in the second episode, there's this line that Glenn Close says to, like, Sarah Paulson where she's like, do you ever think we would all be better off if your mom had just swallowed instead? And, like, Sarah Paulson's mouth kind of, like, drops, like... like this, and I'm like, okay, that was like a internet insult from, like, 2012. What?
Right.
And go ahead.
Well, I do want to understand, like, the origin of this, and maybe I should have looked into this more, but I want to, from going back to when, like, Kim Kardashian was on American Horror Story, like, that Delicate season, what about her, I want to know, like, why is Ryan Murphy wanting to work with her so much? Because, like, I recognize she is, like, a hard worker. She takes everything that she does, like, she puts her all into it. But she really doesn't, because she has not worked on her acting skills at all. Like, her face, the entire time, it doesn't move. Like, it's the same facial expression. There's absolutely just zero act. At one point, like, Sarah Paulson, again, she's acting... You know, she can only do so much on this show, but she's, like, really giving expression. And Kim Kardashian the whole time is just like, you can't see me, but she's just like...
Yeah. There's a whole scene where she's, like, walking into her house for the first time, and she's like, oh, like, you know, take off early if you need to. Like, she's talking to her staff. She's like... And it's just, like, she's hitting her marks, like, so exactly unnaturally. Yes. But I think also, like, for me, the writing is so tough, like, for me, because in the second episode, there's this whole scene. So, first of all, they make so many allusions to, like, all's fair and love and more, and I'm like, no, we get, like, that's the name of the show. Like, we are not stupid.
Yeah.
And then it's supposed to be this, like, women's law firm where it's like, we're going to take on women's cases and we're going to, like, support them. They have a private jet. I'm like, what are you doing? So they all go on this private jet, and they're like cheersing, and the amount that they talk about, like, dick game, dick size, like, oh, like, how, like, is he gonna, like, give you that dick, like, whatever. And I texted you, I was like, straight women are not talking about dick that much. They don't care. Like, they've got other things to deal with. And to think that, like, these high-powered, like, supposedly, like, empowered lawyer women are just sitting around talking about dick is so insane to me. Nobody's talking about dick that much.
And at one point they walk in, it's like Kim Kardashian and what is it, Naomi? It was either Naomi Watts or Niecy Nash, but the two of them walk into somewhere, and the woman who, like, owns the business comes out, and she's like, she asks, like, oh, are you guys so-and-so? And they're like, no. And she's like, well, then you must be lawyers. Like, she can just tell that they're... I'm like, what about them screams lawyers to you?
Is it the thong?
Like, yeah. I don't know. I'm not, like... It's just crazy. Like, because... So, I think now would be a good time to bring up that Kim Kardashian, she's been trying to get this law degree for 6 years now, I think.
Yeah.
And, I mean, all power to her for continuing to try. I think that's fine. That's great.
Yeah.
California is notoriously, like, that's, like, actually a really hard... like, their bar is, like, is very hard.
It's a high bar.
Yeah. But she failed it again recently. Like, the other day she announced that she failed it again, but she's like, I'm gonna keep trying. And she's like, so I'm not a lawyer yet. I just play a really well-dressed one on TV. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't do that either, but okay. And also, you don't play a good one, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just, the whole, and the other thing, I said this to you, when I was watching the show, it really felt like, and this is how I feel whenever, like, Ryan Murphy, like, portrays, like, rich women, like, especially, like, in his more recent stuff. But I'm like, it feels like the writing is like dialogue I would have made up as, like, a kid when I was playing with my friends and, like, pretending, like, doing, like, role play, like, as, you know, like, when they're walking and they're like, or, you know, at one point, like, Kim Kardashian, they're always talking about, like, just designers in a way that's just, it's so unrealistic. She's like, didn't Elizabeth Taylor own this? Like, it's just so ridiculous. And it's like, I literally, like, Ryan Murphy and, like, 7-year-old Molly are the same.
Yeah.
Like, this is dialogue that I would have come up with when I was pretending to be, like, a successful rich woman. You know what I mean?
And I think, like, Ryan Murphy shows, I think, really, like, usually get, like, the vibe is there. And for me, I know you're a huge fan, but for me, like, I just never like the dialogue that much. But I think in this one, like, the dialogue is so bad, and also the vibe isn't saving it at all.
Well, I was like, this show was so bad that it literally caused an argument between friends. Because you and I got
I saw your note. I was like, which friends?
Us. We got into, like, our biggest fight ever over, like, American Horror Story, because I'm a fan of American Horror Story. Alexa's not, as we know, like, from past episodes. She gave it a try and she didn't like it, but that's fine.
I watched 3 seasons. I gave it.
Did you watch season 2? I didn't think you. No, you didn't. You only watched Coven, and then you started. You watched Murder House.
I watched Coven. I watched Murder House and Asylum.
But I thought you watched Coven, and then Liz and I asked you to watch Murder House, and you were just like, that's not for me. I don't think I'm going to continue.
No, I watched Murder House.
Interesting. No, I know.
Yeah.
But you didn't watch Asylum.
No, I did watch Asylum. I saw Chloe Sevigny get her legs cut off and arms.
Okay, you did.
I saw that mossy bag.
And I was like, I think what ruined it was Alexa watching Coven, because that Coven, the dialogue from Coven is similar almost to, like, this, not quite as bad, but like this, where it's just like the bitchy, like, mean, like, cunty and fierceness, but, like, it's not, that doesn't mean it's, like, good. That's what, like, I felt like if you come into American Horror Story from Murder House, you get the vibe, you get the tone. I personally think the writing in that season is very good. I won't get into it. But it's caused, like, a whole argument between us, and I was like, that's what this show did.
I could feel you getting really angry, and I was like, I forget what I was doing, but it made me laugh because it's like,
I was not backing down either. I was like, I will not back down from this.
But it makes me laugh. It's like our biggest argument, and then we just be like, yeah, I just think LOL or whatever. Like it's like very like.
Once you said at the risk of making you angry, my fingers have never started typing so fast.
I know, and I think I was just like, I think we just have to like agree to disagree. And I think the text was agree to disagree. LOL.
I think I even sent one that was just like, yeah, I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Like,
I was telling Chris about it when I got home, and he was like, wait, this is about American Horror Story.
Yes.
I was like, it was a big discussion.
Were you complaining about me?
No, it's just because he's watched it all. So
it's crazy that Chris has watched it, and then like you like.
I think because it was like the vibe at the time, and I think like that's
what it is, and I think it's still about whatever. Anyway, I won't get into it, but
and I also like it was at the time when I was living with my parents. I was like 15.
See, I watched it with my mom,
but my parents are not like they don't like any campy type of things like that. I know it's not. I know you're saying it's not, but you have to. There's camp undertones.
I know, but I called you out when you were like, "It's fully camp," and then later you were like, "It's not all camp," and I was like, "You literally said it's full camp."
I will say, okay, I do think it is like 90% camp, but I backed down because I was like, okay, I'm never changing her mind, and she's very passionate. And then I was like, I don't know. I was, but like my parents just aren't into that vibe, and so if my parents weren't watching it, like I'm not watching it. We're all watching TV together. I was like, what, 13, 15 when it came out, you know?
But see what this fuck-ass show did to us. It even caught, like, All's Fair. It caused us...
I thought you meant American Horror Story. I was like, no, oh, wow.
Never. All's Fair. It was so bad. It just was so bad.
And there's certain... Like, again, I asked you this because I guess you hadn't gotten to that scene, but, like, where I was like...
still haven't.
Oh, it's at the end of the episode where it's, like, this guy's coming in for, like, he's getting his wife wants to divorce him, and they bring up this blackmail where it's like, oh, do you see this? It's a butt plug the size of a traffic cone, and they're like, we have a picture of him fully sitting on it, like crouched, like knees bent. I was like, how is that physically possible? Like, I don't think you could fit a traffic cone butt plug up you and not like die. And then they were like, and we also have a photo that we can show of him dressed as a pig with like women sucking his nipples.
Ew.
And then he's just like, okay, like I'll pay the and I'm like, I'm sorry, are these divorce lawyers or like blackmail experts?
Right.
Like, what's happening here? And I was like, also, like, who was that for? Who was that joke for? Who was that scene for? What is this show for?
Like, I think it's like men are bad and women are cunty.
I guess.
I don't know. So my main question coming from this is like, not only how did this show happen and why are we really casting Kim Kardashian as a lead? And I mean that for real. Like, I'm not trying to jump on like a Kardashian hate band, because again, I think Kim is successful in her own ways, but I just think acting is not one of them. Like, she just can't. She has not been working on her acting skills, like, at all. And so my question is just like, why did the other actresses who are phenomenal actors, why did they like agree to this? Did they read the script and think it was good?
Because Naomi Watts has been in his stuff recently. Sarah Paulson obviously always is. I think
Glenn Nash has too.
Yeah, Glenn Close maybe has been. I can't remember.
I don't know if she has at all. I don't think she has. But the others, yes. But I'm like, okay, at least those. I didn't think Grotesquerie was very good. But like, you know, the other ones I get. Like, but I'm like, what made you do this though? Like, unless you're under like some, which I think Sarah Paulson, this might be true. I think she's in some kind of like blood pact.
Yeah, maybe they just thought it'd be fun. Or maybe I always think of this quote from Dakota Johnson that I think is true. She's like, you sign on for a project and you don't, like, you're signed into a contract and a lot of things get changed and you don't get to sign off.
There's no way that much changed. Yeah. There's no way that this was good at one point. Like, there's no way.
No.
Because it's the script, it's the story. Like, the stories don't really, like, they're stupid.
The main thing is, like, that Kim Kardashian's husband wants to divorce her. Like, that's supposed to be, like, the big plot of the season. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Why do I care about this?
Yeah, and I don't know. But they did clearly have fun. They seem to all have really bonded, and I guess that's good. But I did see, so I guess they had, like, them all on the Kardashians.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They were, like, all at Kris Jenner's house. And there's just a really funny scene where Kim is, like, they're having, like, a sleepover, like, party or something at Kim's house. Or I guess it is at Kim's house. I don't know. But Kris Jenner is there for some reason. Kris is there. And at one point, like, Glenn is like, talking about how she wants another martini, and Kim's like, oh, do you want another martini? Like, I can get you one. And Sarah Paulson is like talking to the camera, and she's like glug glug glug, like she's like making fun of Glenn Close. She's like, it's really funny. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just like, why are they on this show right now? I don't know what universe I'm living in.
They seem like on screen they're having fun together. Totally. Like it seems like a pet project type of thing.
Good, but I guess
it got a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is hard to do.
That is hard to do.
One thing I feel like once that headline came out, I feel like more people are gonna watch it because they just want to see how bad it is.
Well, actually, and I should have brought that up like from the beginning, but that is what made us watch it, right? Yeah. Because we saw it and I was like, what if we watched it? Because it is crazy, a 0%.
Yeah.
Do you think that was the workings of Kim and Chris, like being like, let's make sure the reviews are
I think because they're like, if we're gonna get bad reviews, we have to spin this into something profitable, right? At least. And so don't go watch it. Don't give into what we did.
Well, I mean, yeah, I couldn't even get past the first episode. Like and I've seen people say like, oh, I think it's great. Like, I know it's campy, but like, I can't wait to watch the next episode. Like, it's so funny to me. And I'm like, it wasn't funny though.
No, if you think it's funny, you have a bad sense of humor.
Very low brow.
Yeah.
No offense.
You said it like you were talking to me.
Well, I was looking at you, but I wasn't talking to you.
I was about to be like, oh, okay. Aww. But yeah, so don't go watch it. And I don't know. Not
at all.
No. But I'm curious. So something that you did watch was Death by Lightning. Did you already finish it?
I did. Well, it's only 4 episodes. Okay. So it was a 4-part miniseries. It's on Netflix. So Matthew and I watched all 4 episodes in one day.
Oh, Matthew watched it too?
A little under the weather. He did. He was in the room.
Oh, okay.
And he was sitting there. He said, I like this show, or that show is fine. And we kept watching it. I am here to say, I think overall the show is fine.
Okay.
But basically, so Death by Lightning is it's on Netflix. It's about the U.S. President James A. Garfield and his assassination by Charles Guiteau.
Okay.
And so Garfield is played by Michael Shannon, and Guiteau is played by, and I'm going to be you're going to hear me pronounce his name wrong a million times throughout this because I can never remember how to pronounce it, but Matthew Macfadyen?
Okay.
Is it McFadyen or McFadyen?
You told me one time how to say it, and then
I don't remember.
But I continue to say it wrong, and I think it's my fault that you probably now have this like envelope
Maybe.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's McFadyen, but I feel like I'm saying it wrong, so
however I say it, do the opposite.
I might just say Matthew.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because the idea of it sounded really intriguing, and the first episode is wild, but basically, or not wild, I would say the show is was a little underwhelming than I thought it. I thought it was going to be a little bit more interesting than it was.
What is it about? I don't even
So
remember.
so Garfield like I said, it's about the assassination or it's about the presidency of James A. Garfield, and he was assassinated by this man, Charles Guiteau.
I thought you were going to say by lightning.
And basically, so Garfield didn't, in this show, Garfield, who's, again, played by Michael Shannon, he didn't, intend to run for president. He was speaking for a nominee at a convention, and his speech was, he gave this, rousing speech, and I think, everyone was just I think he should be the Republican nominee. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh, wait, no. But then he ends up winning the vote, and then he, wins the presidency. And so, meanwhile, you have Guiteau, who's, I feel like I'm saying his name wrong, too. But he is played by Matthew.
Okay.
Tom.
Yeah.
Tom Wamsgams. But
Mr.
he was this, mentally ill man who basically just, failed at everything in life. And so he was, super delusional. He kind of, he's a con man. He steals from his sister and her husband. He's just an overall loser. Okay. But he's unwell.
Yeah.
He basically has this delusion that he played a role in getting Garfield elected, and he really wants to work as a representative for him. So he's he's kind of obsessed with him, and he's just sort of obsessive the whole show. He's very if you can picture him, picture Tom's just goofiness a little bit, but as
obsession.
Yeah, he's just unwell. He's mentally unwell. And so he really wants to work for him, and he thinks that he's part of his cabinet, I guess. He really thinks he's just part of, and everyone's just go the fuck away. Who are you? And so basically he's like super offended by Garfield's rejections, and he ends up shooting and eventually killing him. And this isn't a spoiler, it's just his history, so I'm just telling you like what the show is. But
spoiler.
I mean, but and I didn't know, I guess Garfield, he doesn't die like immediately, he just dies from an infection from the wound. But it's interesting, like I think I've said this before, but Matthew Macfadyen, like no one plays a loser like this man. Like it's wild because, okay, I'm curious your thoughts on this, because I think he is so handsome. He's such a like dapper gentleman, at least in real life. But even like in stuff, in this one, he had a really crazy beard.
Yeah.
But like still, you're like, okay, this is Matthew Macfadyen. Like he's, to me, very charming, and yet he always just like plays this like awkward loser role all the time.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, the only thing I've not seen him in as an awkward loser is Pride and Prejudice.
And I mean, Mr. Darcy isn't like the picture of like, you know,
suave.
Right. So I guess there's that, but he's very like, he's serious. He's like very serious in that movie.
Maybe it's just what he's comfortable with because it's so different from himself.
And he's just so funny too that I don't know, but the thing, Guto is like a train wreck of a man. And so, and he, at the end, he has this scene, again, this isn't a spoiler because it's literally a history, but he does get tried and convicted for the assassination, and he gets sentenced to death. And there's just this interesting scene where he's going to be hanged, and you can tell that, like, he's just truly not well. Like, he's almost kind of giddy. Like, he doesn't get that he's about to, like, die. And he's just like up there, and he's just yapping away, and he gives this like little speech to everyone who's sitting there watching. And then at one point, it's like funny, but in like a creepy way, he starts singing this like religious song, and it's very like high pitched. Apparently in real life, he like did it like even 2 octaves higher. But
oh wow,
he just starts singing this song. And then like after he's done, he's kind of smiling and looking around, and he just like realizes like everyone's just looking at him just like stoned face, like everyone in the audience, and he just kind of goes like, oh, and he like realizes that like no one truly cares. And he just was truly like a narcissistic man. And it's funny because when I read the reviews, like people were really praising him. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he gets like an Emmy nomination for this show because his acting in it is like incredible, obviously.
I mean, he is an incredible
He's amazing
actor,
in everything, yeah. But people were kind of like, in the reviews I read, like people were saying like Michael Shannon, it was more like Matthew Macfadyen who like really stood out in the show, and that Michael Shannon just like, you know, he didn't really stand out, but it's hard because like his character's not that interesting. But I actually thought like Michael Shannon was really good in it, and I'm a fan of his. Like I think he's a really good actor, but his acting in it was great. Like both of them were really good. And I think the show is getting pretty good reviews. But like Matthew and I watched it, and we watched it in a day. And I think afterwards we were kind of just like, that was fine. Like I don't think it will stick with us, like it won't stick with me. I think it was a little forgettable, but it did teach me about Garfield. Like I don't think I knew anything about him or his assassination, so I think like, you know, I recommend it if you like history, because I think it really sheds a light on like a historic event that's sort of been like overlooked in history.
They didn't really advertise. Like the reason I knew is I
only just saw it on Netflix.
One of my little like when I'm just scrolling, I like to see what's coming up. And I was like, oh, what is this?
I don't know if you would like it. Like it's again like it's. Yeah. I think I expected a little bit more out of it. Some of it I do think some of it was like they took a lot of creative liberties with it. I don't think it was portrayed completely accurately. Again, because one of the things is like, they made him sort of seem like the presidency was like an accident, whereas I think he was a little bit more of a cunning politician than he was portrayed as. I'm talking about Garfield. But Nick Offerman was in it, and he played Chester A. Arthur, who ends up being his vice president, and he was like this drunk, and he's actually really good in it. Like, and the thing is, I was saying to Matthew, like, if you need someone to play a man with facial hair, like Nick Offerman is your guy, because like this show had so much crazy facial hair, like mustaches.
Well, that's the time period too.
I know, but
could not be me. God.
Yeah, but I think like overall, I would recommend it if you want to like learn a little bit more about this thing that like I really didn't know about. Yeah. So I don't think we really learned about that, but
maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's only 4. You get through it pretty quickly. It's only 4 episodes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what I won't be checking out because you can't really check it out is the movie Anniversary. So,
what is this movie? I've never heard of it.
I hadn't heard of it either, but The Wrap came out with an article a few days ago, and then, like, you know, more people have been talking about it. But it's this movie that came out on, I think it was October 25th. It's called Anniversary. It's a Lionsgate film. It's a political thriller, and it had, the cast has Diane Lane, Dylan O'Brien, Kyle Chandler, and Phoebe, Defner? She's from Bridgerton. I don't know why I can't say her name. But anyways, so they wrote this article about it because basically they're claiming that Lionsgate like buried the film a little bit. Like there's no marketing for it. It was only released in 800 theaters, so it basically made, I can't remember the amount, but it was something like $350 per theater. And so the director, Jan Camosa, she said that the film was buried because it's incendiary, and to me it's a sign of the time we lives in. And then the movie's producer, Nick Weschler, said that I've never had a movie that we thought was really interesting that no one was aware of. It's hard to market a political film today. People are afraid of them. They don't know how it will be received emotionally. It's a weird time. So people are saying that basically Lionsgate buried the film because, you know, Trump has been like censoring a lot of like political allegory films.
But so I missed it. What is it about?
So it basically, it follows a Georgetown professor whose former student writes an anti-democratic thesis titled The Change, which wins nationwide attention after being noticed by a powerful right-wing organization. Democrats begin to dwindle, and the world begins to change around Ellen's family and I didn't say their names, but begins to dwindle around their family. And basically it kind of shows like this, I think, like totalitarianism and like the effects of it. So basically it's like kind of a commentary on almost like this like dictatorship government and how it can kind of take hold, I think.
Yeah.
That's basically kind of what I was gleaming from it, and it's like again a commentary on that. So if I'm wrong, someone correct me, but that's why like it basically is like speaking out against like the Trump administration without like directly saying it. And so even at the premiere of this movie, only 3 cast members were there, which this is unconfirmed, but people were alleging that it's because other actors, managers were saying like you shouldn't go, you don't want to be associated, like you want to like kind of take yourself away because it is like such a politically like versatile or volatile film.
Yeah.
And so, sorry, it came out October 29th. It has a 69% on Rotten Tomatoes, and critics said it acts as a warning against extreme politics. It has performances that are gripping and chilling. But it's just like, I just thought it was really interesting because I had never heard of this film. Like, it has some big stars. There was like basically no marketing done for it.
Yeah.
Like they barely had a premiere for it. Again, you can't really even the showtimes in theaters, it'd be like at 10:15 p.m.
Right.
So it just is kind of like interesting, and it was kind of interesting learning about it, just seeing like how we're really like censoring media these days. And it's just like a little bit, I don't want to say scary, but just like, I don't know, reading about it, learning about this film that like nobody had ever heard of, that sounds interesting. And like, if it comes out in an available streaming service, I will give it a watch.
Okay. Yeah.
But I just, you know, and it's crazy for Lionsgate. Like they invested like, I think like $300 million in it or something, you know, like you would for a movie. And then they basically like, after again, all of the political stuff that's been happening, kind of back down a little bit, and we're like, actually, I don't know if we want to be associated with this film.
I wish they wouldn't back down. I mean, what's the point of backing down when it's like you made it? So what
right.
Like, it's not like you didn't. And even with the actors whose managers are, you know, allegedly maybe telling them not to show up to the premiere, it's like, well, you knew what the movie was about. You knew what.
Yeah. And I wonder if they probably started making it, like cast it or whatever, before all of this stuff with like the Trump administration happened. So once they've like put their investment into it, I think.
How far back can they go though? You know what I mean? Like when, like how, like, okay, then it would have had to have been made like 10 years ago or something. How would you not know what his reaction would be?
I think it's different than the first Trump administration where, like, again, all of the stuff with Colbert, like the censorship that's been happening, and the way that, like, all of these big companies are kind of reacting to the, like, grip of the administration. So I think like it probably was made, produced, like pretty much done before even Trump got elected, honestly.
Yeah, but I think you gotta... No. Not since...
Or not like since he got elected, but like at least like probably... I would say 70% of the way done before all of the censorship stuff really was like taking hold. Is what, again, this is just like my thoughts.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I'm just saying, I think you gotta go all in. You gotta stand by your film and not back down. I don't see what, you know. And
I almost wonder if it's almost like the All's Fair thing where it's like it was so bad now people are interested in it. Now like the story has come out that this movie has been like buried, and that's almost like free advertising a little bit, where people like, to me, I'm like, okay, well now that I know that this has almost been like censored and I'm not supposed to be watching it.
Yeah, it makes you want to watch it more.
Yeah.
I think...
Give it a view.
I had never heard of it. I think I would need to like see it. It's hard for me to like visualize what this... I mean, I've literally never heard of this until you brought it up.
No one had.
Thank you. Thank God for this podcast, honestly.
Yeah, we keep you guys in the know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just wanted to kind of in the same vein touch on a little... We talked about the Sydney Sweeney ad when it first came out and all the controversy about that. Go listen to our previous episode, but it's basically like... genes are passed down, and it's about like American Eagle genes.
Sydney Sweeney has great genes,
and so that happened like a few months ago now, and ever since then she's kind of been like not talking about it. She doesn't like do interviews, but she did a GQ interview earlier, I think it was like this week.
Was it GQ?
I think it was.
It was such a bizarre interview.
It was so strange, and it's interesting to me because like this was the first time that she'd ever really said anything about the ad, and she still was like saying nothing about it. Yeah. So the interviewer asked how she felt about the reaction to the ad, and all Sydney Sweeney said was, I did a jean ad. I mean, the reaction definitely was a surprise, but I love jeans. All I wear are jeans. I'm literally wearing jeans and a t-shirt right now.
Okay. I love jeans. This wasn't the one where she's sitting on the bench and the woman's talking to her, right?
No, I think it was.
What? That was so weird.
It was strange. And, like, that interviewer...
The way the interviewer was weird, too. Like, just all of it was weird.
Well, the interviewer got a lot of pushback because, like, she would ask her, like, about these questions, and she would just be like, haha, yeah. Like, and she'd almost be, like, sitting there talking to her like she was her friend. And she asked about how, like, Sydney Sweeney felt about, like, the sales increase, like, in relation to it. And Sydney Sweeney said, I was aware of the numbers as it was going. So when I saw the headlines of in-store visits were down a certain percentage, none of it was true. It was all made up. But nobody could say anything because the company was in their quiet period. I don't know what that means. So it was all just a lot of talk. And because I knew at the end of the day that what that ad was for, and it was great jeans, it didn't affect me one way or the other.
Okay.
And then the interviewer just kind of is like, yeah, haha. Like, she just, it's almost like she's sitting there buddy. And it's like, you're interviewing. It just really makes me mad because you see a lot of these interviewers, like, interviews with, like, even these big magazines where it's like, obviously they're coming in and they're like, we don't want to talk about this topic, but if we do, it's like a pre-screened question almost. And then they're not pushing it any further. Like, to me, if I'm interviewing Sydney Sweeney and she'd be like, I just love jeans, I'm sitting here wearing jeans right now, I would have been like, right, but did you not think about, like, maybe the, like, I don't know, eugenic-esque connotations in what you were saying? And how do you think that, like, affects, you know what I mean? Like, just push it a little further.
I think the ultimate answer is just like, no, she didn't think about it, because I don't think she thinks that deeply about it. I don't think she even thought that that's what it was. And I'm not defending her. I'm just like, I don't think there's any conversation to be had with her other than if she just said, hey, it was a bad look. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I can see why people are offended, and I'm really sorry. Like, but it's like, if she's not going to do that. And so otherwise, but it's not like she can say, it's almost like, I think she's doing this thing now where she's almost like, doubling down. So now it's like she's dating Scooter Braun, who's like the most hated man in America, probably. Like, it's just strange. I don't know.
You know what's interesting is I was about to say, I think she's like one of the first people where, like, people have come back and said, like, hey, this was like in a, like, it's like not cancel culture, but like calling people out for things. But it reminds me of also Kristen Bell, who also was just like, no, I'm not going to apologize for this. Like, this was like a joke that I did about me and my husband. So, like, I'm sorry if it was misinterpreted. Yeah. And I feel like now we're almost getting into maybe this era where, like, instead of automatically people being like, I'm sorry, I'm going to learn and I'm going to try to do better, like, celebrities are just like, I don't give a fuck. Okay, it was about jeans,
right?
Which I don't necessarily condone, but I'm saying like maybe that's where it's trending.
Yeah, I think so. I think you've got to do either one. It's like you've either got to double down and be like, I'm just gonna keep going, like I'm not gonna apologize, or you say like, hey, I fucked up and this was bad. This was a bad look.
Yeah.
I think, and what's interesting is this is all sort of coming. So people just like hate her now. Like she's truly like she is kind of being canceled. Like people, there's rumors right now, alleged rumors that like Zendaya refuses to do press with her. I don't know how true that is. I take that with a grain of salt because where's that coming from? But it did come from like Page Six or like the Daily Mail or something, who were the original ones that reported on like all the David Harbour and Millie Bobby Brown stuff, and it did like turn out to kind of be true. So at least like the thing was real. And so I think it's just interesting because I'm like, okay, sometimes I think, things are rumors, but I also, they're a publication. They can't just post that. But it's interesting because, Euphoria is going to come out at some point soon. And so the other thing is, apparently, so she did this movie that like no one's seeing. It's doing horrible. It's called Christy, I think.
Pissed me. The trailer pissed me off because it's about like this boxer who's supposed to be from West Virginia, and I'm like, I've just never heard a worse West Virginian accent.
Yeah, and it sucks because I mean, this boxer like this. She probably deserves more. I mean, this biopic is being made about her, and no one's paying attention to it because they've really only marketed Sydney Sweeney, and I couldn't tell you who else is in this movie. Yeah. But they've really, like, put all their eggs in one basket, and that basket is, like, a kind of a PR nightmare right now.
Yeah.
And so I think I feel bad because it's just, like, this movie is doing terrible. And so on top, and this is when I feel bad, when people are just getting, like, all of the things are just being thrown on top of each other. Like, the movie's doing really horribly. It's, like, not made, like, any money.
Yeah.
It's probably, I think they said it was like the worst opening weekend for, I can't remember. It broke some record for being like the worst opening weekend for something. But it's just interesting because now, I mean, she's just like really being dragged.
I was thinking about this earlier too. And I wonder if people aren't really interested in Sydney Sweeney's work if she's not portraying a hot woman. Because in this movie, she's portraying, like, a boxer. She's really buff. She's, like... I mean, she is just, like... She's not her typical hot girl Sydney Sweeney self.
She said she gained, like... I don't know how much.
Which, like, do, like, the diverse roles. Yeah. But I'm curious if people don't care about her as much in roles where she's not just being hot.
I don't know. And the thing is I mean, maybe. I think that's... What's interesting is, like... I sometimes think she is a really good actor. Mm-hmm. Like, I think about, like, her acting in Euphoria I thought was really good. She's one of those actresses that she's not super expressive, yet somehow, like, The White Lotus, I thought she was really good in that.
Yeah. But
then there's other times, and I think I saw, when I was watching the preview for Christy, I was like, I can't imagine less of a movie that I want to watch less. Because it just... Yeah. I didn't think she was really... It just didn't seem genuine. It just felt like very much... It felt Oscar baity. Like, they were like, this is going to be Sydney Sweeney's, like, role. And it just was like... And that's why I say, like, you couldn't even tell me... I couldn't even tell you who else is in the movie. Yeah. Apparently, the movie covers, like, domestic violence. And But again, I don't...
Because I think Christy, and I don't know anything about sports, I think she ends up marrying her abusive boxing coach.
Okay.
I read that earlier today.
Right. And it's probably it's an important story to be told, but, like, no one's...
Yeah. And I think just from watching the trailer, maybe she does a great job, but I was just like, I don't...
That's what I mean. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But she's making some interesting choices. The photos of her and Scooter Braun, they're like photos of them in Central Park, like kissing, sitting on a rock and kissing. I'm like, okay, no one just goes to Central Park, like obvious. So what do you guys do? Like, what is this choice that you're making right now? Because everybody knows he is like one of the most like hated men. So it's just,
I mean, maybe she is like doubling down. I don't know.
Think so.
Maybe she's pulling a J.K. Rowling. I don't know.
It's an interesting choice to make. I think when Euphoria comes out, it like people will forget and people will just be excited that the show. It's kind of like what they're doing with Stranger Things. There's a lot of things about. There's like some cancelable things going on in that cast, but they are just, I think it's easy to forget it when you're excited for like the characters and the show.
And I think like sometimes I think it's okay because the thing is, I just get frustrated for like if a person on the cast is awful, and then it brings down the whole production.
I know.
This is your, like, imagine being the writers and the directors and the
all
other
these people that put hard work into it.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, because this one person is stupid, like, now we all are gonna, like, the work that I put all this effort into is gonna suffer. That sucks. But I guess it is, like, what you're getting into when you get into the biz.
Ensemble show and or just anything.
Yeah.
But speaking of problematic people, I'm
curious. I don't know anything about this.
So basically, TLDR, Daniel Day-Lewis is saying that Brian Cox is dragging him into a conversation about method acting, and he's clapping back. And so, for those who don't know, Brian Cox,
he loves to have an opinion.
He is a yapper.
Yeah.
He is a yapper, and he'll talk shit about anything and anyone. Yeah. He does not give a shit. And normally, it's usually really entertaining for me, but for some reason it does particularly bother me because he'll talk about Jeremy Strong a lot. Yeah. Who was his, for those who don't watch Succession, he played his son on Succession. Mm-hmm. And he just, like, seems to really target Jeremy Strong. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I think Jeremy Strong suffers from actor brain a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I don't want to say he's, like, pretentious, but he does take acting so seriously, which makes sense to me because Kendall Roy was one of the greatest characters, I think, ever on television. I think the way he played Kendall Roy was, like, something I've never seen before.
Right.
He was him. Like, it's actually hard for me to separate the two. I think he seems like a lovely person in real life.
Yeah.
He seems, everybody who's ever worked, when that smear article came out about him, like remember that one? It was like a couple years ago. But the New York Times article that was just, like, awful about him. And, like, all the actors had to come out and, like, say, like, no, we love him. He's great. It just, like, we were misquoted in the article or whatever.
Yeah.
But he seems to really get lost in the roles, which I think can be dangerous, but I think it can produce great work. But I don't understand why it's completely necessary, but if whatever gets you there, gets you there. And so obviously everyone's style is different, but I don't see how that's considered acting at that point. Mm-hmm. If you have to, like, become the role, like, you should be able to just, like, but whatever. That's just me.
Yeah.
But so it's very clear, like, and again with that article, I think Brian Cox was, like, quoted in that. Brian Cox, for, like, a while, he's done multiple interviews where he sort of just, like, called out Jeremy Strong for his method acting style. And I think it's just kind of clear to, like, me and to a lot of Succession, like, fans or just, like, people. It's like Brian Cox and Jeremy Strong just don't vibe with each other. Like, I don't think they really like each other. Because he's just made comments throughout the years in, like, different interviews that, about his acting style. And just at one point he called it fucking annoying. And he said he's even implied that he, like, adopted the method acting style from Daniel Day-Lewis, who is obviously famous for method acting.
Yeah.
And so... recently, like, Brian Cox was talking about Daniel Day-Lewis needing to quit acting because the method acting, like, being too much for him, and, like, that's why he quit acting for a while. And so finally Daniel Day-Lewis is, like, clapping back.
Yeah.
And I've never seen him engage in drama before, but he said in an interview with Big Issue, which is, like, a UK publication, he said, "Listen, I worked with Brian Cox once and got somehow drawn into this handbags at dawn conflict inadvertently. Brian is a very fine actor who's done extraordinary work. As a result, he's been given a soapbox, which he shows no sign of climbing down from. Anytime he wants to talk about it, I'm easy to find." He said it's on site.
Wow.
And it's funny when he said soapbox, I pictured that scene from Succession when he gets on the box, literally is standing on the box. But then he addressed Brian's Jeremy Strong comment and said, "If I thought during our work together I interfered with his, like, Jeremy Strong's working process, I'd be appalled. But I don't think it was like that, so I don't know where the fuck that came from. Jeremy Strong is a very fine actor. I don't know how he goes about things, but I don't feel responsible in any way for that."
Wait, what did Jeremy Strong and Daniel Day-Lewis do?
I think the only thing I can think of that they were both in was Lincoln. Because Lincoln is like...
What? I didn't know Jeremy Strong was in that.
Okay, Lincoln is like the middle-aged man version of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where it's like, if you watch Lincoln, there are so, like, Walton Goggins is in it, Coleman Domingo was in it, Jeremy Strong was in it, Adam Driver was in it.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw it in the movies and I almost had a panic attack because it went on for so long and I got really hot for some reason. And I started to, like, I just have a really awful memory of seeing it in the theater. And it was so long. It's such a long movie. But it is a great movie.
Yeah.
And he was Lincoln. I mean, he was Lincoln.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jeremy Strong is in it. But that was like, what, over 10 years ago, and he had like a small role. It wasn't like, again, it was kind of like this like cameo of just all these like actors who we like now know. But I think it's funny. I think it's ridiculous too. I think, I do agree that like when actors are like, how is that acting at that point? Because there's a lot of people who have talked out about like method acting. I think like if you're just completely becoming the character, like you should be able to get out of it and go home at the end of the day. Yeah. But I don't think like Daniel Day-Lewis like meant for this to become a whole thing. Like we know he did it on the set of
The Last Mohicans.
I think he did do it on Last Mohicans, but he also did it on I think his like original thing was My Left Foot, where he played a man with cerebral palsy, and he like made everybody like lift him up and carry him everywhere and he said, and it sounds pretentious, and again, I don't think he ever meant for it to. I think his point was like, it'd actually be more exhausting for me to get in and out of the character,
right?
And I understand that, so he just decided like physically it would just be easier for him to stay in character.
It's more exhausting for everyone else.
It sucks for everyone else, and I that's another point too, is like I can respect that process, because especially like the thing is, I do get it when people are doing like an accent and people stay in the accent. That makes sense. It'd be hard to get in and out of it.
Yeah.
I think as long as like you're not being a weirdo, like Jared Leto sending a rat or used condoms to your co-stars, like as long as you're not doing that, I don't think like acting is a weird job. Like it just is, and I think like whatever you have to do to get into the characters, like just let them do it.
Right.
I don't think it's always pleasant for other actors. Like it sounds like with Jeremy Strong, he may have, this is just like the idea that I get, that maybe not everyone, like I've always gotten the feeling that he and like Kieran Culkin don't necessarily get along. And I think it's because Kieran Culkin has like this is just me being like, I don't really know.
Yeah.
But I mean, as a friend of Kieran Culkin, who's like, met him. I do think, as a close personal friend, he is like one who he always says like, I come in, I read the script for the first time like 2 minutes before I start like, filming. Like he's just and like Jeremy Strong is different. He takes it.
He's like, I become
Kendall
I am
Roy.
the monster I've created.
Exactly. He's very serious, and I think
I'm curious how that works when he has like a wife and children. Like, do you think he's like at home being
FaceTiming them as Kendall Roy?
Yeah. He's like, hi, I'm Abraham Lincoln.
Well,
I know.
Or do you mean Daniel Day-Lewis?
Does Daniel Day-Lewis have children?
Yeah, his son just directed. He just came out of retirement because his son directed made a movie, and he starred in it. I heard it was like really bad. But, I think it's kind of nice that he was in it. He came out of retirement for it. But I think it's interesting. I've never heard Daniel Day-Lewis like really engage in drama. And so it's interesting to see him clap back at Brian Cox of all people.
Brian Cox has opinions about, I forgot, there was something I like.
He's got to chill, but it's also very entertaining.
He has opinions about everything. Someone was quoting his opinion about something randomly the other day where I was like, why does Brian Cox care about
talked
this?
shit about Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that's who it was, Johnny Depp. Oh, it was from the podcast we listened to, the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Shout out What Went Wrong.
Yeah, What Went Wrong. When he was like, like Brian Cox goes off about how like Johnny Depp's an overrated actor, and it's like,
and he just kept going too. He could have stopped, but he just kept going.
Yeah, and
he does not. He's like a girl. Like he's really like just one of the gals. It's very funny.
Honestly, I feel like a gossip session with him would be great.
I actually do I think he's very funny. I think he's obviously an incredible actor. I do think it bothers me how he treats Jeremy Strong though, because he does seem, and he's said, he's like, I don't dislike him. I'm more worried for him than anything. And I understand that, but
the thing I always think about is when his book came out a few years ago, and this is such a random thing. And
Brian Cox's book?
Yeah, he like wrote a biography. Autobiography. Mm-hmm. Anyways, and apparently when he was born, he ripped the womb out of his mother.
I believe that.
Like, it came out with him. And I'm like, I didn't know that was humanly possible. That's crazy.
I believe it, though.
And again, someone fact check me, but I remember hearing that and it really stuck with me.
Well, I always thought it's interesting. He's like the male version of Patti LuPone. Like, I think the two of them would just really, like, I would love to see the two of them in a conversation. But I think the thing about Brian Cox is interesting to me is, like, he's obviously an incredible actor. I don't think he's, like, somehow the most successful actor ever, though. So it's interesting to me that he talks so much shit about, like, Johnny Depp and, like, just other people, and it's like, okay, you're not, like, I don't know where you're where you come off. You know what I mean?
He's like, God, I've been waiting for y'all to pay attention to me for years.
Yeah,
I mean, finally, say what I want.
Like, I can only name like 2 notable roles, maybe 3. I think he was in the X-Men movies too. But like, it's interesting to me that he is such a shit talker because I'm like, okay, where are all your roles? That you know what I mean?
Interesting. I wonder if that'll impact him also as he like tries for other roles in the future. Like, if you're shit talking half of Hollywood.
I know.
It's probably not going to be great for, I don't know, your future.
Yeah. I mean, he just does not care. He's so interesting. But yeah, I just thought it was funny that imagine being like canceled by Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, he comes after you. He's not canceled, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I do think it's just an interesting conversation because I'm like, I see both sides. I do sometimes think method acting is a little much, but whatever gets you there, you there, as long as it's not disrupting as long as it's not affecting your co-stars
or your wife and children,
right?
Or like
your
you know what? I feel
life.
like I haven't heard of any female method actors. We'll look this. We'll research and we'll get back to you.
It's a dramatic guy thing.
Yeah,
I'm
true.
trying to think.
God, men are such drama.
Yeah,
they try to act like they're chill and stuff, but they are drama.
Yeah, I'd love to. Wait, I feel like I should think of some women. We'll get back to you.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know. If you guys know, let us know.
Yeah.
And we'll let you know.
Like, why? My first thought is like Cate Blanchett, but I haven't heard that she has. It's just that's who I keep going to.
I don't know. Her is Bob Dylan. Crazy.
Oh, God. And we've had that conversation on here and I still forgot.
Yeah. I never forget. It was wild.
Never forget.
Yeah. But, I'll just say, like, this doesn't have to be long. We'll just end on this. It's just a funny thing. I've been wondering who this kid was. So if you don't know, the Louvre was robbed. Where have you been? Also,
did you see two of the robbers that they caught in their late 30s? Like, how sexy is that? Like, that is so hot of them.
Oh my God. Okay. So originally, this image came out. Where did it go? So you can kind of see it here if I zoom in. It's like where there's the police officers and everyone was like, who is this man in the photo? Is he like the detective? Because he's like he looks like a 1950s detective. Like everyone.
Well, can you zoom in on the actual, can you like zoom out so I can see who he looks like? Interesting.
So everyone was like, oh my God. Like he was just like.
I missed this.
Oh my gosh, I've been like the New York Times did a story on it. The AP, everyone was like, who is this man? Because the internet was obsessed with him. They were like, this is Hercule Poirot 2025.
I loved the way you said that. You had the right amount of spit. Like,
thank you.
Good.
I felt that in my mouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I've also been like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Turns out he's a 15-year-old.
Why is he wearing that?
People were calling him a fedora man. 15-year-old, his name is Pedro Elias Garzon de la Veau.
Do you think he was one of the robbers? Because they always show up to the scene, you know what I mean?
No, he was not, because he's a fan of Sherlock Holmes and Hercule Poirot.
Okay.
And he lives with his parents and his grandfather. And so once he knew his photo was out there and that people were like, people were calling him the Fedora Man.
Why is he standing there though? Is he like,
I think he was just there. Like he lives in Paris. He was like, I was walking to school. So
I figured he was trying to get the scoop,
No, he was just walking to school, and he said he was like, yeah, like I knew everyone was looking for me, and he was like,
here I am.
No, he said he wanted to play along with the suspense because it's been weeks. Like everyone's been like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? He literally said, I didn't want to say immediately that it was me. With this photo, there is mystery, so you have to make it last.
The drama.
I love him for this, and he
just said, he gets bullied at school.
He has to, because, well, also, I said, this is the Frenchest bullshit I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Because he just said, I like to be chic. I like to go to school like this.
I like to be chic.
Yeah, I like to, look at him. He's like, I go to school like this.
Wow.
He was inspired by them. He said he's inspired by 20th century history and black and white images of suited statesmen and fictional detectives, which is like, yeah, you are. It's crazy that he just happened to end up in this photo, and hand in pocket, he's got an umbrella with a
Not the
hook.
umbrella.
He's just the most well-dressed 15-year-old, lives with his parents and grandparents. He's like, yeah, I just figured I'd let them...
He's 15.
He's 15, yeah. I guess in Paris, I just imagine
Yeah, they're all emancipated.
Yeah, they're like born with a cigarette in their mouth.
Is emancipated the right word?
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking emaciated for a second. I was
different. Yes, yeah. And I love, because first of all, we found out this week that the password to the security cameras was Louvre.
Amazing.
Every detail of this story gets better and better. Second of all, this fedora man is a child who loves to dress up as like detectives and just happen to be walking to school.
I know. Do you think he's insufferable? I hope not.
I think he probably he dresses like that to school, Molly.
Right. That's why I'm like, I hope he's not being bullied, but like, you know, he is.
Absolutely.
Also, I know that they probably already knew the password going in, but what is in my headcanon is that they were just like, I don't know, just put in Louvre and it like went ding and it worked. Not that they...
No, what I would love even more is if it was on a sticky note and said password Louvre.
PW. The way that it's like...
It's almost like it's not even Louvre 1. It's just Louvre. It's so funny to me.
So funny.
But shout out to that kid. I love this.
Shout out to his family.
Yeah, shout out to his family. This is gonna be a story for forever. Like, the internet was Fedora Man. People were going.
See, that did not hit my algorithm. I've been following the Louvre, but that's a very you in New York Times.
Yeah, like, and because also like he's the kid I wish I could have been, because I love the fashion of these detectives too, but I wasn't brave
Sherlock
enough.
Holmes.
One time I went to school, I was wearing like a vest and a this like fancy not sweater, scarf that I had wrapped around me.
Oh my god, you were
and
trying
this
to
girl
be
was
so
like, "Wow,
mysterious.
you look very French," and I was like. Yes.
You're like, that will stay with me for the rest of my day.
I remember the exact outfit. It was like these brown little like crappy leather shoes that came up right above your ankle bone. Mm-hmm. I looked so French.
I was trying to ankle boots.
Yeah, no, they were just ankle shoes. I was trying to encapsulate that French Joe Jonas video he did. Who cares? But anyway, shout out to that kid. Bravo to you. And I love that he was like, I'm not gonna tell. I know it's me, and I'm not gonna tell him. I'm gonna let them stew on this a little longer.
No.
But anyways,
that's great. I love that we ended on that.
Yeah,
that was fun.
It's iconic. It reminds me of my Irish Kids video somehow.
Yes.
And I found it. Something. Doubt it. Anyways,
incredible.
We're ending on a high note now. I brought it down.
No, it's great. It's still up.
Yeah. But thank you all for joining us. As always, please like, rate.
Just keep going.
Please like, rate, review, and subscribe. Share this with your friends. Share this with the Louvre robbers. You know, I mean, whoever you want to, whoever's your Frankenstein monster, let them know that you've got a podcast for them and it's us.
A leaf? For me?
For me?
That's a vocal stem of mine now.
Yeah, it's like one of her 6 lines in the movie, and it's just pretty iconic. But yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.